Let's go to Cecil in Orlando. He's got a topic I need to address here. You with us, Cecil?
Yes. Thank you for taking my call, Larry.
No problem.
I think everybody on that's listening to the show, they understand the advantages of using the AMSOIL oil, but there's quite a lot of difference between the different brands and price ranges of oil filters. I'd like you to explain the differences and what's a good one and what's not, maybe not so good.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you, when I seen your question, the first thing I did, because I wanted to see just how much information, how easy it was to obtain information on the internet about oil filters. And what I typed in was, which oil filters use paper end caps? That is a very important question whenever you go to replacing an oil filter on your vehicle during an oil change. And the average consumer that goes through a quick lube really needs to know what kind of oil filter they're using on their vehicle. The Fram has used paper end caps on their filter media for years. And underneath that paper filter media, they use a piece of bent metal that's supposed to bend if that filter was become restricted or obstructed. And I'm like, well, that's about as primitive, I guess, as you could ever make an oil filter. You can't see what's inside of them because it's just a metal can, basically. And we're taking some manufacturer's word for how good of a quality that filter is. The problem with the way that, from a mechanical aspect, I'm not talking from an engineering aspect. I'm not going to sit here and try to butt heads with an engineer from Fram oil filters, or Purolator or any of them. But the bottom line is we have cut many of those types of filters apart, and the paper end caps are blown right out of the bottom of them. I don't know whether it was because of overpressure or just that the paper itself actually deteriorates. And the bypass spring inside of them, or that piece of bent metal that's supposed to be a bypass, I'd never really understood the whole principle of that. And I've cut thousands of oil filters apart because I have to. If I get an engine failure in, I got to cut the filter apart to see what type of metal it's containing. So you go and you take a filter like a Wix filter. You cut them apart, nice paper micron filter, got metal end caps on it, and they use a high tech silicone seals inside of them. So no matter how old the filter gets, the rubber seals inside the filter don't deteriorate. Whereas if you use a cheap rubber seal inside of it, just any type of rubber, it will deteriorate. It gets hard and brittle, and it will come apart, and it'll actually let the filter bypass. As far as the bypass spring in these filters like a Wix filter or a Napa filter, which Wix makes them for Napa, they got metal end caps, and then they use a real live, honest-to-goodness spring underneath them. So if that filter was to ever become restricted, it would just push down on the spring and bypass, so therefore you don't have, things in there that have to bend and move to bypass if the filter was to become restricted. I just, Fram defends these paper end caps as supposed to be the best thing in the world, and we all know why they use them. It's because of the cost of building the filter. It's cheaper, for goodness sakes. They don't have to buy as much metal, and they don't have to buy any springs. I guess they can just use spare pieces of metal laying around and bend them and call it a bypass valve. But your best bet is to in my opinion, I'm a mechanic. I always have been, and I've got a pretty mechanical engineering mind as well. But an oil filter with metal end caps and a real spring is a definite advantage. You can type in which oil filters use paper end caps, and there's all kinds of stuff here, and you can read it and you can make up your own mind. Bob is the oil guy. He's done some extensive research on this as well. You can also look and see what he has to say about it, but common sense tells me one that's made out of metal and uses a real live spring for a bypass, it makes sense. It makes common sense, but you can't tell some of these other oil filter manufacturers that. And and make any sense. So do your own homework, and I appreciate your call, Cecil. We're going to break for the three big things. When we get back, we got Patrick, Mike, Gary, Ken, Ryan. You've been holding on a long time. We're going to get to all of you here in just a couple minutes. Hi, folks. Larry Perry here. For automotive information, maybe you got automotive questions on cars, trucks, vans, SUVs. Maybe you're thinking about maybe purchasing a used vehicle, and maybe you just want my opinion. Tune in to the Magic Mechanic radio show every Saturday, 3 to 5 p.m. on wdbo.com. Also tune in to our Magic Mechanic YouTube channel, and don't forget to subscribe. And we'll all get together, maybe fix a few cars while we're at it.